Yeah, it's definitely creating memories.
And the
And of
memories
course,
will always be there as well.
yeah, and of course, mom is always there. She's the one who produces and writes and everything, and we add our parts, but more or less, she's the one that's constructing everything. So we three do our best to fulfill the vision that we all have created.
And for the kids, I'm curious, do you have any favorite videos that you've made or favorite types of videos that you've made?
In English with Baba, any favorite videos?
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to English with Lewis. And today I have not one guest, not two guests, but I'm lucky enough to say that I have three amazing guests. So, hello, everybody.
Hello.
So today we're going to have a little bit of a chat speaking about Stephen and his family. But could you each do me a favor and introduce yourself one by one? So, in any order.
My name is Yang. I'm like 11 years old. I like to play football. I'm sixth grade. Like my favorite lesson is English
Perfect. Why is that, do you think?
because like I love to speak English. Like it's very good for me.
It's enjoyable. And you said you like football. What football teams do you support?
But Galatasaray and Real Madrid.
Interesting combination.
Yeah,
Why Real Madrid?
because like I love it. Like in Spain, it's a good team.
Exactly. I mean, yesterday there was El Clásico, the big match between Barcelona and Real Madrid. And I think the less we speak about that, the better. Perfect. I also love football. And yeah, it's my favorite sport, 100%.
Nice.
Great.
Nice. What about you? What's your name?
John.
John, tell him your name.
John.
What do you like?
Football. I like football. I'm 6 years old and I in first grade.
Okay, perfect. And do you support the same football teams? Also Galatasaray and Real Madrid?
Yeah.
Awesome. And is English your favorite subject also?
It is? Favorite subject? Not math?
Just nodding your head. Just nodding your head. Like, yeah, of course. Easy.
Cooking you like as well, right? No?
No?
He likes
So yeah, it's nodding and then shaking.
Yeah.
Shaking his head. Like, nope, cooking, not for me. Not my cup of tea, as we might say in British English.
All right. Good stuff. And I'm Stephen. I'm Baba. I'm an American living in Turkey with the kids and my wife, living on the Med, actually looking at it right now. And, I've lived in 10 countries and ended up here, and here we are.
Perfect. Awesome. And you're Stephen, but your page is English with Baba. So I don't speak any Turkish. What is Baba? What does it mean?
Baba means father.
Okay.
So English with father, or papa. I guess you could say more. It's closer to the slang word of papa.
Now everything makes sense.
Yeah, or dad, or, whatever. It's less the common or the formal name, and more the slang.
And whilst you're all here, I'm curious. I'm sure everybody is curious. Why did you start making English educational content on social media? What's the story behind it? Don't be shy. Anyone can answer. I don't mind.
Yeah, no, it's, obviously we're creators. I'm a business guy. My wife's a businesswoman. We're always looking for ways to get ahead. And there was a format that we didn't see on the internet. That was people learning English in a, let's say, mini skit type of way. And it's more enjoyable than just, this is this, this is this, this is this. So how do you teach somebody something like that? And you do that in an informal way, sort of like mini films, short films, 30 minutes, 30 seconds to a minute. And then we wanted something that would actually speak to people in a family way. And that was, an American father with Turkish kids, English with Baba. And so we came up with that format, and it ended up actually going viral within 6 months, 800,000 followers, 140 million views organically. So we struck a nerve that way, and it's going really well. It's a lot of fun too.
So I imagine it's like a moment that you enjoy together. Like when you're recording, you'll be having a laugh, you'll be making some little mistakes at the same time, and it's good memories to take with you in the future.
Yeah, it's definitely creating memories.
And the
And of
memories
course,
will always be there as well.
yeah, and of course, mom is always there. She's the one who produces and writes and everything, and we add our parts, but more or less, she's the one that's constructing everything. So we three do our best to fulfill the vision that we all have created.
And for the kids, I'm curious, do you have any favorite videos that you've made or favorite types of videos that you've made?
In the English with Baba, any favorite videos?
Yeah. Well, that one like when the video went like 35 million views, like
Yeah.
that video I like the most.
Service mishaps or something it was called, right? Service.
Yeah.
Service.
The condiments.
The condiments and my burger's not done. Oh, it's raw. That kind of stuff. Yeah. So we go through the whole thing. That was 35 million views on that one. It was called Service Failure. That's what it's called. Service Failure.
I mean, it seems like you've cracked it. You've found a way to have fun, teach English, and maybe make some kind of business possibilities in the future.
Yeah, well, we have sponsoring. We already have sponsoring, and we're doing quite well on that end as well. So it's it's getting there. We never did it for business actually, but it just sort of turned out that way.
Perfect. And then obviously it's to teach English and talking about the journey of the kids learning English. But how about doing it the opposite way around? Have you ever thought about doing it to teach Turkish? Because I don't speak any Turkish, as you can see. I don't know what Baba means. But have you thought of doing the opposite?
Well, when we thought about this, you always want to look at market segments, right? And the largest market segment is English, Spanish, and Chinese. So that's one of the ones we chose. If we just chose Turkish, I'm not sure how large the audience would be. But we did, our first few videos were actually translating from Turkish to English as well, or English to Turkish. We had little subtitles in there. We stopped doing it. It wasn't getting any traction and went only to English. So, a little bit of traction in the beginning, but not as much as it is now.
Facts. And as you were saying, some of the videos have gone viral. A nice phrasal verb we could use here is to blow up. Like some of the videos and the channel has blown up, meaning that it has got very, very popular very quickly. If you look at a trend, it's blown up.
Yeah. Some of them, we did one last week or the week before, I think. Was it the Italian one? It went to 1 million. Oh, we were sitting in front of the in front of the Coliseum, and all I said was, "You can say that again." And he said it again, and I said, "You can say that again." He goes, and he said it again. I had to laugh and said, "No, it just means I agree with you." And then he said, "Man, English is difficult." And I said, "You can say that again." And that video is right now at 1.6 million.
I mean, it's a beautiful place as well. Like if the background is beautiful, when you're there, when in Rome, as they say, do what the Romans do.
We travel a lot, so we like to do reels wherever we travel to also show the difference in, the difference in the not just the scenery, but also how you act in different societies. In Italy, you speak maybe slower than you would in England, or these kind of things. So,
right. And about your time in Rome, obviously you were there recently. So I'm curious for each of you, what is your favorite thing about Rome?
What was your favorite thing about Rome, John? When we were in Italy, food. The food.
I mean, pizza, pasta, gelato, anything in particular?
What did you like most? Pasta.
Good choice.
You?
Yeah, I like when we were stepping to New Year, that last 10 minutes was great, and the food too, and the Coliseum.
Coliseum, yeah.
It's very good.
Yeah, we spent the New Year's into 2025 at the Coliseum watching the fireworks and just enjoying about 1 million people standing there.
I mean, it sounds beautiful. I've been to Rome, but honestly, I've never actually been inside the Colosseum. So I was outside, and then I saw that there was a huge queue. So in the end, I was like, maybe next time. So I haven't been inside.
Next time, pay a little more and book in advance for a private entrance, and you just walk past the queue and walk right in. It's not
little tricks.
Yeah, there you go. All right, cool. Good stuff.
Well, in that case, I don't know if the kids you want to stay and we can continue talking. It's up to you. Obviously, I'll cut this part out.
Yeah.
But yeah.
You want to stay or you want me to go deep and have more conversation? All right. We'll break it off here and then let's go with me. Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Awesome. Well, lovely to meet you and continuing to enjoy the content and the football. And yeah, lovely to meet you, as I said.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thumbs up.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye. So now, Stephen, it's just for two of us. I want to know more about you and continuing to provide some listening practice for our viewers. So could you introduce yourself in a little bit more detail? You're American, but you have Turkish children. So where does this all begin? What is your upbringing like?
Where does it all begin? Well, I'm 57, so it began 57 years ago. I don't think we need to go through all 57 years, but I was born in Pennsylvania and joined the military when I was 19 and left and was stationed in Germany. And after 7 years in Germany and a tour in Iraq, I decided to get out and stay in Europe. So I didn't go home. I stayed in Europe, got out and lived in Germany. And from then I started opening and running businesses. And I had a total of 20 businesses, wrote a few books, did a few, acting jobs. And I was on TV. I was a news anchor. I was an MTV VJ in Germany. And, like just sort of kind of things that you do when you're younger, I guess. And I kept moving from country to country because I would find new opportunities and I always wanted to reinvent myself. So reinvent, meaning I was at a place where I felt like I hit a glass ceiling and wanted to go new. So the best way for me to do that was always to find a whole new society where I didn't either speak the language, didn't know the people, and had no friends. So
I really just wanted to get out.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I did. This is my 10th country that I've lived in right now, in Turkey. And I've lived in most of Europe. And I have to say the Middle East it's a whole different world, but I absolutely love it here. I absolutely love it here. We go to Dubai and Saudi Arabia and things like that. It's just an amazing place to be. Emerging markets, powerful, wonderful place to do business, make great, true friendships that the family, the nuclear family is still very important over here. So it's something that is close to my heart too.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. Interesting. So let's start with your decision to go to the military when you were 19 years old. Do you remember what were the main kind of reasons why you wanted to sign up?
Yes. I came from a poor family. We lived in a mobile home and, broken family, I guess you could say, married multiple times, my mother. And I just wanted to get out. I knew that I was going to be stuck in a swamp, in a quagmire, I guess you could say, staying there. So I knew the only way out was to be forced out. So I forced myself into the hardest thing I could find. And that was the U.S. military. And, it was the right decision. It definitely was the right decision. It forced me into finding out who I was, what I was about, what's my true identity. It took a while. But it turned me into a hungry man who doesn't know how to quit.
Uh-huh. I mean, it's all about discipline, right? At least in the early days of the military, like I have zero military experience, but what I imagine is that you get a bit of a shock when you sign up and you're forced to change your habits and you're forced to be able to recognize a position of power. And then it's always like,
you're
yes,
right.
Sir.
You
sir,
are
yes,
forced.
Sir.
You are forced. Exactly. But what it also does is it teaches you to expand your boundaries and to go beyond what you believe you can do. And that's the most important thing for me, more than discipline. I remember standing at the obstacle course and going like, there's no way that I can do this. And the next thing you know, I'm doing it. And I just stood there in total awe of myself that I was actually capable of doing something that 5 minutes earlier I had no idea or had no belief that I could even do. And so once you break through a barrier like that once or twice, it makes the rest of your life look pretty easy. So when you're faced with when I'm faced with a challenge now, it's just, okay, what's the solution? How can we move forward? Let's get past this. It isn't like, can I do this? It's never, can I do this? Because I can always do it. That was the most important lesson that I got from the military. There's always
you have like a can-do attitude and just
there's always a way.
Yeah,
If
it's
I don't
always
have a
possible.
solution, someone I know has a solution. If they don't, they know somebody who has a solution. There's always a solution.
Right. And you mentioned that you were in awe of what you were able to do. If you are in awe of something, it's like you are shocked and amazed. It's like, wow, I did it. I was in awe of what I was able to achieve. And during military training and all of this, what would you say is the most difficult aspect of it?
Definitely physically. We ran not immediately, but we ramped up, and we ran about 10 kilometers a day. And we did, push-ups, sit-ups, and fitness and weightlifting and all that kind of stuff. The technical side, I was on tanks, so it wasn't so technical. I didn't really learn much when it comes to, university kind of things. It was all combat. So I'd say it's a physical part, and it's the lack of sleep, because you're always on the go, always moving, always, when you're in combat arms like I was, you're always practicing. So you're always simulating war. So I spent 7 years simulating war, and then I actually went to war, and the simulation was nothing like actual war. So learned that lesson.
Wow, I mean, it sounds very intense, and I don't know how much you want to talk about this, because I understand for many people who have been to war, it's traumatic at the same time. And speaking about it might bring back memories.
No, I'm a published author. I published a book, and it's also, here's the book, Unleash Your Humble Alpha. And it's got all the stories in there. So yeah, I have PTSD. Yes, I've dealt with this for many years. It's very traumatic. Lost a friend in my arms on the battlefield, did things that I didn't want to do, saw things that I didn't want to see, went through things that no one should go through. But, it's a volunteer force, so I had to own up. And it's still tough. You still have those days where you get up and it's just there, or when the sun's coming up and a truck drives by and I smell diesel and the sun's coming up, it just reminds me of being in Iraq. So there's trigger points that send me back into the desert there in Iraq. So, but you learn to live with it or learn to deal with it through the years. I have an amazing wife that just supports me in every way. So when I do get that way, she sees it in my eyes, and she comes and sort of lets me deal with it.
And with PTSD, do you have like mandatory therapy after serving in Iraq, for example?
Unfortunately, no. At the time, PTSD was not recognized. There was no mandatory anything. They were hoping that you would just go away and really want to take care of you. Now there's therapy, but I'm past that point. I did it on my own when I was living in Germany. But now in the military, yes, they have programs. They have, exit programs and things like that. But in my time, it was just like, see ya, you're done. And that was it. So,
and then I guess you have to just deal with it.
What's that?
I guess you just have to deal with it yourself and find your own way of managing this kind of trauma.
And it's still an issue. If you look at the statistics, UK included, I believe, you have about 22 veterans commit suicide every single day. Every single day, on average, 22 veterans worldwide. Yeah. So it's a tough world. Think of it like this. You have a balloon, and it's a little balloon like this. Once you blow it up, let the air out, it's stretched. It never goes back to that original shape. It's the same thing with your psyche. When you go to war and you experience the ultimate, the extreme, you got to realize, I didn't sleep, I didn't eat. It was every emotion you could ever imagine at the same time. And when you come back to the civilian world, nothing will ever bring you to that point again. So it's almost like you're searching for fulfillment, for excitement, for adrenaline, for something. So you're always out there looking, which is great for business, not so great for the relationship side of things.
So it helps you to be successful, but not in everything.
No, it doesn't. But I've learned to be better. So,
and one more point on that before we mention the book that you wrote. If you could go back in time to when you were 19, would you still sign up and join the army?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'll tell you maybe who I am. I have a twin brother, and it's easy to see what he's like and what I'm like. And it's like, he stayed at home, I left. He didn't join the military, I did. A big difference. So
Okay, I mean, it made you who you are, and I guess everybody
Yes.
does something for a reason, and there's no reason to have any regrets because it has shaped you as a person.
Right. And also, if you have regrets, well, there's nothing you can do about it except try to make your world better from where you are. And that's what we do. I do a lot of it. I do a lot of philanthropic help. I do help a lot of people. It's a big focus in my life. So I'm paying my dues.
Perfect. Now, obviously, when I was sending you this invitation for this call, I saw that your email was related to the book. It was the Humble Alpha. So then I did a little bit of research, and I was like, okay, what is this Humble Alpha stuff?
Yeah.
And then I came across the book on Amazon and then a little bio. So I knew a little bit about you before we started recording, but I want to get into the book. So the Humble Alpha, could you sum it up for us?
Yeah. It's humble on the outside, alpha on the inside. And so what that means is owning your presence by knowing who you are as a true identity. Your true identity isn't what you do. Some people say, if you ask, you know who I am? And they'll tell you, I'm the CEO, I'm the boss, I'm the whatever. Well, that's not who you are. That's what you do. If I ask who you are and you say, I'm a father, I'm a mother, I'm a brother, nope, that's what you are. That's not who you are.
Mm-hmm.
And so most people on the planet, do not know who they are from an identity place. Once you get to that point, you are very authentic because now you know who you are. And that almost crystallizes a purpose in front of you. And once you have your purpose and you are implementing that into your life, that purpose amplifies your identity, which makes you authentic and makes you very presentable to the world as someone who's very, very singular, very special, very, very different. And, the book is based upon 5 core principles by which I live, models by which I live. Mm-hmm. And each chapter is a few stories, lessons from those stories, and then the actual action steps to implement them in your own life. But on top of that, that book has been now adopted by, I think, almost 10 universities in America as curriculum for leadership and entrepreneurship. Mm-hmm. Even Harvard and Stanford have it on their desks right now looking at it.
Pretty big deal, then.
It is a big deal, even though I'm not a writer by any means. I basically decoded my life and looked at how I did what I did, because people ask me, how did you end up working for Mick Jagger? How did you end up working for Olivia Newton-John or Andrea Bocelli? And I was like, I just walked up to them, started talking to them. They're like, yeah, but what were you thinking? And I was like, I don't know. I didn't really think about it. I just did it. Like, no, Stephen, you have to teach people this. And so I ended up sitting down for about a year and going through my entire life and looked at, what did I do that worked? What did I do that didn't work? And what did I keep repeating that kept getting better? And that's what I came up with. So this is basically a foundation. Anybody who reads this book and does the work will have a foundation, an operating system in their life from which they can never fall, because it's based upon their identity of who they are. And so it's a very, very powerful book for anyone who wants to grow and become this epic person in life that just owns their presence and owns who they are, absolutely, without any remorse, without any kind of fear at all. It's very, very powerful once you implement it in your life.
Okay, interesting. Like, now I'm a little bit thrown by the name dropping, and we'll get to that in a second. Okay. But you mentioned the 5 principles. Could you tell us what they are?
Yeah. First one is HIT, honesty, integrity, and transparency. Honesty with yourself while you do say and think like you do. Transparency is how you step into the world with that honesty, and it's your ongoing reputation. That makes you authentic. Authenticity allows you to dictate your market value. Second one, and this is the most powerful one, is called creating space. Creating space is showing up wholly and fully for the people or the persons in front of you with no preconceived notion of a specific outcome or a cookie cutter solution. Focusing on the only thing that we can control, and that's our intention of adding value by solving problems. Right? Third one is you're the CEO of your own life enterprise. Like the business enterprise, a CEO reports to 2 groups of people, board of directors and shareholders. Mm-hmm. In your life, as a CEO of your own life enterprise, your board of directors is your immediate family, and your shareholders is all your friends and family around you. What do you do as a CEO? You ensure the company's healthy, it's running profitably, and everybody's happy. So if you run your life like you run your business, or your business like you run your life, you're going to be successful, right? Then we have quality of life. Quality of life is enjoying the moment no matter the task, right? And it just goes on from there. There's per model, there's sub models underneath it, and if you go through the readings, then you'll see that most of the stuff is very simple. I just break it down to make it very, very simple so you can adopt it into your own life.
Okay. And when you wrote and published this book, I saw you did it with a friend or someone you were in the military with as well. Like, I don't know how much you use like ChatGPT or anything like this, but like it's a lot of work to write a book. And obviously, if it's based on your own experiences and opinions, then maybe it's a little bit easier because you've got it all up here anyway. But it sounds like a lot of work to take on. I don't know how you managed to get it published.
Well, it was a lot of work. And here's the deal is when you write a book about your own life, you're biased. And I knew that. And I did not want to steer the book in a specific direction of what I thought was right because I don't know what's right. Right. So I decided to get a journalist to record and interview me. So they did about 24 hours interviews. And us, my co-author as well. We took those manuscripts and sent them to an editor, gave him an outline and said, make this book, all these manuscripts into a book according to this outline. And that's what they did. They sent it back. We reread it, fixed things and then move forward from there.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was a lot. It took about a year.
Right. At least you didn't have to do the majority of the writing then.
No.
So it's just the content, getting that out and then getting someone else delegating it.
Because you got to realize when someone's interviewing you, just like we're talking here, I'm saying things I haven't said in years and I forgot about, or like you asked me specific questions about the military. I hadn't thought about that stuff before.
Yeah.
It's been a while. So you come up with things that you went through that you completely forgot about when you're being interviewed. And that's why I wanted that process. I don't want to go from what I remember. I want to go from what actually happened and what I can remember.
No, it's good. I guess this is a moment as well to be like, you're scratching the surface of different things that you had forgotten about. So perfect, a win-win situation.
Exactly.
And, obviously, you're not an English teacher. A lot of people who are posting content on Instagram, YouTube, they're doing it because they also want to advertise English courses, English classes, stuff like this. I saw a video on your Instagram, I think it's the first one that's pinned, of you explaining kind of what you do, about being a business coach, and you also have had multiple businesses. So right now, are you CEO of different companies? Are you shareholder? What is the exact situation?
Well, I have a partnership called Nova Scale Partners, and we raise funds to invest in companies in which we take equity. My wife and I have a company together. There's a few other companies where I'm equity shareholder in as well. And this is if when people look at me, they're like, "You just raised $210 million. What are you doing Instagram videos?" And that's the whole point. I'm talking about being authentic, right? So we're not dependent on Instagram. We're not dependent on the revenue from Instagram. If there is any revenue from Instagram, truly, I like to add value. And I like to involve the kids in something that's going to help them grow and actually understand the world a little better. So we don't just travel. When we travel, we do videos. Like I said before, we travel, we do videos. Like this is the, the Coliseum. This was built then and then and just there and there. That's why we're sitting here, because it's an important feature in life, this kind of stuff. And so it's funny when people see me on the street. I met a guy here in Turkey. He's like, "Aren't you that American influencer?" I'm like, "Oh Lord," And I was like, "Influencer? I don't know about that." But and we ended up becoming business because he's an investor as well. Okay. And so you never know where it's going to go. And I like the fact that we're not dependent. Number one, number two, we're one of the rare accounts that teach English that are actual native English speakers. Because what we see is when I see these other accounts, sometimes they're saying things or they're teaching things that may or may not be correct. Or
sometimes it can be a little bit questionable how actually used these expressions are. And a lot of it is just to kind of grab people's attention and then clickbait and they stay there.
Yeah, exactly. And for me, sometimes I'm like, what the heck is that? Like, I would never say that. You know what I mean? Or, and I've lived in 10 countries. So my accent myself and my word, my word shots, my collection of words has grown immensely since I was in high school. And my accent has also neutralized over the years. So I speak differently than my brother, for instance, because I had to speak clearer when I was in Germany until I learned German. I had to speak clearer, in France. I had to speak clearer in Austria. I had to speak clear in all these different countries. So I learned to articulate. Actually, one of the lessons I learned from an actor, I forget who it was, you put a cork between your teeth from a wine bottle, put it between your teeth, and then you start speaking, and you have to articulate so exaggerated. You do that for 5 minutes, take it out, and you speak like a pro. Because you're so used to moving your lips and over over enunciating. So
gesticulating all the time and really like stressing every word. Like in my case, something similar happened because I maybe haven't lived in as many countries, but I've been away from my town for like 12, 14 years since I went to university. And of course, that was initially in the United Kingdom. And then I moved around a little bit to Argentina, to Italy, to Spain, to Australia. And my accent now is so neutral. But I make a lot of videos with my mum from time to time on YouTube for like, again, conversation practice. And you can tell the difference, even though we've still got the same kind of accent. Hers will be so like rough and like authentic, whereas mine's just so kind of boring and neutral.
But when you hang around with her for a day or two, you start speaking like that again, right?
It starts coming back.
Yeah. I'm the same way in German as well. When I go back to Berlin, they speak a very specific, let's say, lower level German in Berlin. And so like when I'm speaking German, I speak the Hochdeutsch, the high German. And then I go back to Berlin, it starts getting faster and sloppier, I guess you could say.
I mean, it happens, you adapt to who you're speaking to at the same time. Like if you're surrounded by people who speak in a certain way, inevitably, you're going to pick up some of these phrases that they use. So that's a message to everybody that the more you hang around with English speakers, or at least people who speak very good English, it's going to brush off on you and you're going to start to learn some expressions without actually studying at all.
Proximity is everything in every situation in life. Whether you want to increase your frequency as a human being, whether you want to increase your business acumen, if you want to feel better about life and become more successful, where you spend your time and who you spend your time with dictates your future, period.
It's interesting. And one thing that's interesting as well is that sometimes I listen to Alex Hormozy and all of the content that they put out. And a lot of the things that you're saying kind of resonates with what he says as well. That you have some things in common, that you're both kind of investing in different companies and trying to add value to these companies.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever had this before.
Yes, I've heard it before. I've done over 100 companies myself, and I've owned over 20 of my own. I exited or sold or, bought out or whatever. But it's always the same model, basically. When you have as much experience as I have in all these different countries and all these different businesses, it lends itself to helping other people be successful. So, we raise money, we go in, and we have a fee for that, of course, and then we get paid a retainer to help them grow and scale. And we have partners all over the world, which we can bring in if we need for specifics, whether it's AI or whatever it is. It could be, tech, robotics, food tech, med tech, whatever we need. We have people all over the world.
Right. So in 2025, do you have any specific goals that you're trying to hit?
Oh, yeah, we do. We have business goals, of course. I won't name a number, but it's pretty large. It's probably going to be the best year ever. And, we've had some really phenomenal relationships built. My wife and I and the kids, we're probably going to live 3 months in either Saudi Arabia or Dubai. We've lived in Dubai before, but maybe go to Saudi Arabia, see what that's like. And we do this to expose ourselves and the kids to a new culture and also to build new relationships. And then we're going to go probably to the U.S., either Austin or where does she want to go? Raleigh, Durham, North Carolina. Yeah, really strange, but she really wants to go there. And so, and then who knows, maybe we'll go somewhere tropical as well.
All right, exciting. So right now you're in Turkey. Let's speak more about Turkey because I've never really been. So what is the country like? How would you, again, describe it to people who maybe don't know Turkey as a country and as a culture?
Well, right now I'm sitting looking at the Mediterranean, which is right out our front window. And we live in Antalya. If I look across the way, I can see the mountains with snow on it, but I can also go down here and go swimming. So you have that swing of temperatures within ice. That's number one. Beautiful, beautiful country. Amazing people. We live in, of course, the 5th most visited city on the planet is Antalya. There's 320 hotels on the coast. To the right of us and to the left of us we're right in the middle. So this is where everybody comes to go on vacation, basically. But we live in a part where locals live in between, which is great. And so it's almost like a small community here. It's absolutely beautiful. Great country. Inflation is out of control, but I mean, for the Turkish people, their wages keep going up as well almost every month now in order to keep up with inflation. And it's just a great place to be. Family is, what I've experienced here is security is number one. I can leave my wallet on the table. It won't get stolen, at least here in Antalya. The kids can walk out the street, down the street, go to the mall by themselves. No problem whatsoever. Everyone here looks out for children. Like children are the number one. Everyone knows children are the future. So they're always looking out for the children. They're very safe. The schools that we have here, amazing schools for the kids. They're learning a lot. And it's very interactive. The teachers call you, hey, I just want to let you know this and this happened, or hey, what do you think about this, or how you guys doing, and that kind of stuff. So very interactive, very, very supportive. I haven't seen one fight, one argument, one bullying, one, road rage incident, nothing in 2.5 years here. Not one. One.
I mean, you're painting a very good picture. It sounds pretty perfect. Like, are there any downsides?
I'm talking about Istanbul, different world, right? Istanbul, most visited city on the planet, Istanbul. It's so full, so bad traffic, so packed. I could never live there. It's too much.
Oh, awesome. Yeah. And the language? Like, how did you learn the language?
Forget about it. I didn't learn the language yet. It's difficult. Of course.
It's a work in progress, I'm sure.
Not really, because the kids speak Turkish, English, and Russian. And I speak and their grandparents are here, so they're always speaking Russian with the grandparents. And then I speak English and German, a little bit of Hungarian. And with my wife, I speak English. With the kids, I speak English because I want them to learn English properly. So I never have a chance actually to speak Turkish except for out in society. And I'm sure you've experienced it. As soon as someone finds out you speak English, they want to speak English with you, right? So they don't even give you a chance. Yeah, they don't even want to give you a chance to speak Turkish. No, it's okay. I speak English. Yeah. So,
well, we'll see. Who knows in the future?
Yeah, who knows? We'll see. We'll see. It's a very difficult language.
Uh-huh. And out of all of these places you've lived, you mentioned German. Obviously, you speak German as well. What would you say is the country that you enjoyed the most where you were living?
I think it's got to be Turkey. The weather, the people, the sea. It's just a beautiful place. I like Austria as well. Austria is very quaint, but it gets small quickly. And it's a very, very small country, and the cities are small, and the people are very cliquey. Right, they're very clicky like.
They stay in their group. They don't really expand and open up to outsiders.
Exactly. It's like Bavaria in Munich. It's like if you're not from Munich, it doesn't matter how long you live there. You're not a local. Doesn't matter. They won't let you in. Yeah, but that doesn't bother me. I don't even care. I just go by my way and do my thing, and I greet everybody with openness and friendliness. And you do me right, I'll do you right.
Right. And then speaking about entrepreneurship, there might be some people watching this who are interested in setting up their own company, or maybe they already are in the process of starting something. What tips would you give them to try and be as successful as possible in whatever venture they are starting?
Choose your niche. Don't do something because you're only passionate about it. Passion alone won't make you money. Find out what it is that it needs. I always say this: what problem or issue in the market did you create your company to solve? If you don't have an issue or a problem you're solving, you don't have a company. So find out the biggest problems out there, and if you can solve them, that's how you start a company, to solve something specific. And speak the language of your target market. So when I'm speaking to scientists, I'm trying to solve a problem for scientists. It'll be a different language than I'm speaking if I'm speaking to football players about their problems, right? So choose your niche. Choose the problem you're going to solve, and then start your company by that, and actually speak that language.
Right. And in your case, the first company that you set up, what was it?
That was a cocktail bar.
Okay, perfect.
It's everybody's language.
Exactly.
That was in Berlin, Germany. In Berlin, Germany, it was a cocktail bar. And I actually opened up 3 of those and the nightclub.
You were solving the problem of thirsty Germans wanting to buy.
There we go. Yeah, exactly. I was solving a problem of the trending at the time. It was 1993. There were no American sports bars. There were no American cocktail bars in Germany, or at least in Berlin. And so there was the trend of America was coming. So I opened the first American sports bar, opened the first American cocktail bar with, the stacked bottles and the flipping and all that kind of stuff. And, so I was following a trend in that case. And, we did really well.
I mean, it sounds like a fun business to have when you're in like your 20s or your 30s as well. When you're young, it's great. As you get older, then you just get sick of it, I imagine.
Yes. Exactly what happened. 10 years was enough. Now you got to realize I had that. I had the 3 cocktail bars. Plus I was running a corporation with 3,500 people in 87 locations in 9 countries and wrote a bestseller and got my MBA all at the same time.
It sounds like a lot, like to manage to do all of these things and be like juggling them all at the same time. Like I sometimes complain that I'm busy and I'm just a teacher who makes content and I have like some people who work kind of under me, let's say, as normal teachers, but that's it. And I still complain about being busy. Like,
no, you delegate the task, never the responsibility. So when you're a leader, when you run things, you run the strategy and the vision to follow the vision. And you delegate the task to those who want to be empowered to earn their way up into that vision and into those positions as well. But you're still ultimately responsible for everything. That's how I've done everything since I remember I was at an interview with Apple in Switzerland when I was running a whole group of businesses. And they looked at me after I had like 12 interviews. I didn't even want the job. I just wanted to go through the interviews because I don't like jobs. I like careers, like where I build my own career. And the guy was like, I think you're lying to us. I said, what do you mean? He said, well, I look at your resume and I look what you're doing. There's no way you can be doing all these things at one time. There's no way. And he said, how do you do this? I said, delegate the task, not the responsibility. He was like, right. Because people who have jobs never think like that. They think delegation is getting someone to do something so you don't have to do it. It's not like that. It's like as a leader, you're there to train the future leaders. You train future leaders by putting them in positions where they have to make decisions, right? And move forward. And so that's what a true leader does. And that's what I consider myself to be.
Interesting. Would you say that you have always considered yourself to be a leader? Has it always come naturally? Or is it something that you've worked on and trained throughout your career?
Yeah, leadership it can be trained once you decide. Being a leader is a decision. It's as simple as that. Because there's a lot of leaders that are leaders at work, but not at home, right? If you're a leader, you're a leader 24/7. There's nothing about it. I don't relinquish my leadership when I come home or when I go to the restaurant. I'm a leader and that's it. It's a conscious decision. That's leadership. Now you can learn how to be better, but you can never learn how to be a leader until you decide.
I don't know, lots of little kind of nuggets of information that we can take down. And people, if you have any questions, further information that you'd like to find out from Stephen, then feel free to add a comment in on that part of the video. And I'd be happy to answer any questions about advanced words and phrases that Stephen's using at the same time. Lots of business English. So yeah, very useful and quite advanced as well. So fingers crossed, you're managing to understand everything. I'm sure that is the case.
Yeah.
Now, before we finish off, I'm curious. Stephen, what do you miss from the US? Are there any things that when you're in Europe or in Turkey, you think, oh, I wish I was back home to be able to? Yeah.
I think the only thing that I miss is the urgency that we have when we do things. At least when I was growing up there or in business there. Is urgency for me is real simple. If you're hungry, right, you have to hunt. And if you're really hungry, you have to have urgency to go hunting. And it seems to me most of the world isn't hungry. It's because there's no urgency. And when I was growing up and in business and in the military, it was all about get it done. That's the only thing I miss. There's a lot of, we'll do it tomorrow. Don't worry about it. I'll give you a call, and then he'll call. Even in business internationally, it's just, and it seems like the wealthier the country is, the less urgency there is. So like in UAE, zero urgency, zero. Saudi Arabia, zero urgency, and at least in the business echelons that I have. And it's very, very frustrating for me who's wanting to move quick. So I miss that aspect, I think, although I'm guessing in America it's like that now as well with a lot of the generations that are up and coming.
I mean, there is this romanticized idea of the American dream, and it's always like related to business is business and that's it. Like, do you think the American dream still exists? Or did it ever exist? I don't know.
Yeah, it did. It did. You know, if there's a place to do business and you want to move quick, the most millionaires in the world live in America per capita, not just the most, but per capita. And it's the place where, you know, you can do, it's the largest market in the world basically for selling or whatever it is you want to do. I mean, if there's a place to do business and you want to make it, then that's the place to go. It really is. It really is. That's the American dream.
The American dream. And on that bombshell, I think that is the perfect way to call it a day and finish off this interview for today. So everybody, I hope you enjoyed getting to know Stephen a little bit more and the family as well. And if you haven't already checked out his content all over the place on Instagram, then please have a look. And you can see this video that they were mentioning earlier right in front of the Colosseum, which sounds beautiful, saying, what was it? You can say that again?
What's that? Yeah, no, you can say that again. Yeah.
That was what I came across the other day, and I was like, how many times is he going to say it?
Yeah, sure.
He can say that again, right? But it's catchy, it's addictive. And yeah, Stephen, thank you very much for joining us. It's been a pleasure. And I hope that this year, 2025, all of your business targets are achieved.
Well, same to you, my friend Lewis. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you, everybody. And we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.